The testing of...
But now, would you like me to turn to...
Puerto Rican women, yes.
Right, sorry. I just needed, you know, historians like to correct facts. Sorry, it's what we're trained to do.
Journalists and everyone else like facts, too.
What? I know. So, but we love them. We fall in love with them. But what we believe in context, too, obviously, and that needs to be explained. So what happened in Puerto Rico is that the research, you know, for birth control pills was done, the major work was done here in Massachusetts, actually. But giving out birth control pills was illegal. Contraception was illegal in Massachusetts. So the research was done in Puerto Rico, and the use of very high estrogen dosages was because at that point they really weren't sure what would be necessary, and they wanted to absolutely make sure that they could stop the pregnancy. So, and there were connections to people. They were working with a physician who had connections in Puerto Rico. So that's one of the reasons they went there. There were some objections clearly within the Puerto Rican community to this, but women also, frankly, wanted a better way to protect themselves from endless pregnancy. At that point in Puerto Rico, the church actually protected sterilization and thought sterilization was acceptable after women had had enough children. But the church actually objected to the research on the pills. Then a number of women, we think a couple of women died because of the high estrogen. We know that there were terrible side effects.
How high was the estrogen?
You know, I actually frankly don't remember the exact details of how high the estrogen. I mean, you know,
like 10 to 100 times.
At that point, much higher than what we take now. And in fact, not only the Puerto Rican women, but all of us, I mean, I took the pill as soon as I became sexually active, and only when the pill hearings took place in 1969 and all at the federal level, and all of the research started to come out about how dangerous they were, did I stop taking it myself. So the research, you know, started in Puerto Rico, but the millions of women like me who took it in the late 60s also were part of a sort of massive experiment to see whether or not this would work.
I want to turn to Eileen Wilson, who won the Pulitzer Prize for revealing the names and doing the investigation into 18 people who were injected with plutonium in the 40s without their knowledge by federal government scientists. In a 2004 interview on Democracy Now!, I asked Eileen Wilson about one of those people. His name was Elmer Allen.
The sad part about it, and the tragic part about Elmer's story is that nobody believed him. He went to his doctor and told him, you know, I think I've been injected with something. His doctor diagnosed him as a paranoid schizophrenic at the same time that he was conversing with the atomic energy scientists in Argonne National Lab to provide them with tissue samples. And
Wait. His doctor said he was a paranoid schizophrenic. At the same time, his doctor was providing Elmer's tissues to the government scientists doing the experiment? That's correct. That's what the medical records show.
So Elmer was not only used in 1947 when he was injected with this radioactive isotope, but he continued to be used as a guinea pig for the rest of his life.
That was Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Eileen Wilson. She revealed the names of 18 people in this country injected with plutonium. Elmer Allen was a black conductor on a train in San Francisco. He was injected at the University of San Francisco Hospital. This story of the people injected with plutonium. He'd always said, he used the term, I was guinea pigged by the government. His wife was a nurse. His daughter was a teacher. We spoke with Elmerine Allen, his daughter. They never understood what he was saying, and they believed what the psychiatrist was saying. Yet the psychiatrist was working with the U.S. government, telling them he was crazy, but he wasn't, Professor Reverby.
Oh, I know. I mean, I think one of the things that happens with these kinds of studies, and there were thousands of people involved in these Cold War research on radiation that went on from 1947 up until into 1973, 74 that we know about. Thousands and thousands of people were involved in this. And I think one of the things that's really hard is when this kind of thing happens and people start to try to figure out what's going on, they weren't listened to. And I think, I mean, it's heartbreaking. to listen to this man and his family and the way in which the physician cooperated with the government. I just, it's so horrifying and hard.
Professor Reverby, I'm racing because we only have a minute,
stunning.
and there have been so many of these experiments, and this is an issue that goes to today as well, but the issue of experimentation on prisoners around this country. A remarkable book called Acres of Skin about the experimentation on the skin, the backs of prisoners in the Holmesburg prison in Pennsylvania. Just amazing. I'm holding this book in front of me. It looks like a checkerboard on their backs.
Right, exactly. I mean, remember, prison research, I mean, one of the things that we've stopped is prison research, and there's actually a debate going on now about whether or not it should be done again. But a lot of American research was done in prisons. In fact, there was an inoculation study after Guatemala that was published in 1954 that was done on prisoners in Sing Sing, in upstate New York in 1954. So this was common to use institutionalized people who saw this, frankly, as a bonus. In fact, one of the things that's interesting about prison research is it was done mostly on whites, not blacks, because it was considered a privilege. You got like extra money in the canteen or cigarettes if you participated. And we just have to be cognizant of, we need research. No one should be stopping it. All of us are probably alive because of medical progress and medical research, but the controls need to be there, and absolutely people need to know what's happening, need to be heard when they think something is wrong, and that is the most important lesson of all of this.
Susan Reverby, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Professor at Wellesley College, medical historian, author of Examining Tuskegee, the infamous syphilis study and its legacy. That's one of 2 books she has written on Tuskegee. And we will continue to follow this story and link to all the previous interviews we've done at democracynow.org. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Shufa producer, Armata Angela Comet, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Masood, Robbie Karen, Mike DeFilippo, Miguel Noguera, engineers. Special thanks to Becca Staley, Julie Crosby, Nick Gilla, Hugh Grand, Jessel Noor. I will be speaking at University of Missouri, Columbia on Saturday night. Look forward to seeing people there, then moving on to Washington and Baltimore. Check our website, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman, our website, democracynow.org. Thanks so much for joining us.